Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach and we're doing another Ecomi OMI video as per usual. Currently the price 0.004529 on a lower 43 and a higher 4681 over the past 24 hours. Nothing's really changed since the last video because I made the last video about 20 minutes ago. We're getting back into it. Today we're going to be looking at and watching a really good podcast that I've found that I think some others have spoken about, but I noticed this in my recommended. I'm like, okay, we need to listen and look at what's going on here, right? Because Women X VeVe happened, really great thing they're doing here, and of course RHYS joined in, and something quite interesting was spoken about in this 10-minute segment that I'm going to share with you. We'll share some other parts of it too, because there's quite a few gems to go through here. There's quite a few things actually VeVe-wise that I want to go over, but let's just jump straight into it because I know that y'all want to see it.
Yeah.
But the journey, is it what you expected to see?
So let's keep in mind, so everyone here is part of the VeVe community. Generally, everyone here is, I've spoken with a few people here, great people in general, and they are all, like, everyone here is very committed to VeVe, and that's why we're seeing this. So there's sort of a Q&A with RHYS. RHYS, of course, working at Ecomi as one of the sort of marketing comms leads, essentially. And so what Claire asks here, I think, is, how has the journey been for Ecomi? Has it been what they expected? And what have been, later on they look at sort of what have the hiccups been, what has the FUD been look like, etc, etc.
Oh,
that's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, yes. So yeah, I think so. You know, the only reason we continued this business and building, and, you know, it's not like it was a really clear-cut, easy path for that few years. You know, I mean, we had a business and a white paper and we did a raise, and essentially that all failed, you know, so we started again and we re-raised and we redesigned the whole business. So, you know, there was a lot of lessons on the way, but I think if we didn't have the conviction that we would eventually get to this point or past it, we would have stopped, you know, we would have given up. So yeah, it was tough for those few years to have that conviction, especially when...
Can I just say that, like, the amount of crap that Ecomi would have gotten, I'm sure, like, years ago, and now what they have now, they are probably built for it at this point. Like, they will have such thick skin after having so many people who are literally dedicated to talking bad things about Ecomi, about, you know, pump and dumps, this, that, and the other, like, and actually meaning it, not like, you know, titling it sometimes like I do, but actually meaning that Ecomi is doing something bad. They must have some really thick skin throughout all of this, and at this point now, I'm sure it's still very tiring. I know this as a YouTuber myself, I get so much crap on a daily basis, and I'm used to it, and I've gotten better at dealing with it. I'm sure that the, you know, RHYS, David, I'm sure that Dan, etc., they receive so much of it too, and they just keep pulling through.
Nobody knew what an NFT was. The penny hadn't dropped for most people. They just didn't kind of see that value proposition. But now that we're here and we have seen this adoption, I mean, a lot of that has come down to timing. You know, we removed the code from the app in, I think it was Christmas almost, right? December 24, 25. Somewhere there, and then maybe 2 weeks later you had Gary V and Mark Cuban and Chamath, and all of these huge non-crypto investors and influencers that really picked up on it. So, you know, from there, the rapid growth and acceleration wasn't what I expected. I thought we...
Can I also say that, and I'm sure, I want to say this because I think it's important actually for mental health reasons. A lot of us I know will be in the NFT space, and, you know, we've been a part of the community, and the community is generally very welcoming. I mean, it's honestly one of the most welcoming communities I've seen online for a long time. I actually got into a Twitter thing today where I literally asked someone, and it wasn't like a bad, like a big insult thing or anything, but I literally just asked, this would be interesting as an NFT. I saw a piece of content and I thought it'd be cool as an NFT. And the crap that I got from it, I'm talking hundreds of people piled onto me telling me how bad NFT were, calling me names, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't say anything to anyone. I literally didn't call anyone names. I didn't say anything. And I got piled on by so many people who were like, you're an asshole, crypto, this, that, and the other. I'm like, crikey. Because I have only been part of the crypto scene for like the past 6 months anyway, or the past 9 months roughly anyway. So I'm sure again for these guys, you know, actually running a company, building a company from the ground up, that is, you know, very much crypto is foundational to a lot of this stuff. It's got to be difficult, and I'm sure for those of you who are watching, you probably are obviously interested in NFTs, and you probably know that there's a lot of people who will literally come after you if you talk about them. It's disappointing.
We would grind our way through until this industry really established itself. But in terms of the impact of the product and having the point of difference being the licensed collectibles and all of that, yeah, that is having the impact that I thought it would. Right? That's seeing the uptake and the adoption, because these things already have fans. You know, we don't have to rebuild that. We're not trying to target and create an entirely new audience, which, I mean, that's happened anyway. But we're leveraging existing fan bases. So yeah, I think it has gone generally the way I thought it would, just much quicker, right? Just much more rapid.
Yeah. I was just gonna, sorry, Wendy. I was just gonna ask, going based off of that, because we know the team wasn't anticipating this many users, right? Just how they weren't anticipating that many investors. With that, there are so many more eyes on like the team and everything that is being rolled out, or the expectations. So how much more pressure is there now than there would have been if you guys would have, or if the team would have had like, you know, X amount of users, let's say?
Good question.
I think now, like at this point in time, there's less. Right? For that few months when we really needed to essentially rebuild all parts of the app, there was a lot of pressure, right? Because now you've got this 300,000 strong user base, all with their expectations that this thing is ready to go and should work as seamlessly as we expect all technology to kind of work. So that definitely added a huge layer of complexity, because you're now managing social expectations with the development timeline. And look, I guess we do that anyway, but that put the pressure on. When it comes to everything else, like our general direction, the development pipeline, the features we want rolled out, like we've known them for years, right? We've designed this thing out, and really we're just now ticking them off as we work towards them. So it doesn't really add any undue pressure there. Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me anyway is always trying to manage the emotion of the audience, right? Because there is so many moving parts. There's people that have the token, there's people that have the collectibles, there's people with both. Everyone runs on this crypto timeline where, you know, everyone expects everything to happen right now, because that's how most of our lives work, right? I can order something from Amazon and it shows up the next day. Like, we're so used to this instant gratification that can be really hard to manage in amongst people who have financial investments and incentive on what you're doing, right? So it gets messy there sometimes, you know, and it can definitely be hard to sort of maintain that positivity more than anything. But yeah.
That's one of the things I don't understand, how people are not more patient. VeVe is so new. It's a baby.
Well, the reason for that is that a lot of these people aren't actually aren't investors. They're people who just day trade and hope for the best. Some of them, at least, obviously. The reality is that, and this is why myself, and I know Cavell obviously as well, like, I'm like, that's actually one of the reasons why I haven't been posting as much lately. And I really want to, which is why I'm recording right now, of course. In gaming, there's a lot of seasonalities going on, right? Which means that you want to try and take advantage of things when the market tells you that you need to take advantage of it, right? With VeVe, with the way it is right now, and this is why I haven't been covering it as much, is because in the back of my mind, I've basically been like, well, VeVe is on an amazing trajectory right now. And yes, it's good to cover it, but it's also not the end of the world, because I have other YouTube channels that I have priorities that are other than VeVe that I got to post to, that, you know, essentially it's less of a risk if I post. And keep in mind that I only stopped posting for 4 weeks. Long time, but not that long. But it felt like a long time, obviously. And the reason why I did that was because I genuinely felt like if I take 4 weeks off, it's not the end of the world. Now, if I take 4 weeks off on a game, for example, where there's a new season or a new content drop or something like that, that itself can be kind of rare. It's something that you got to take advantage of. But with VeVe, because I know how early on it is still, I still feel like we're in a place where everyone is so early, so new, that there's so many opportunities that isn't so much as there in gaming, especially in Fortnite, Valorant, etc. So VeVe is so early, and that's why many people who aren't entrepreneurs or who don't have a patience, or people who are investing in crypto hoping to, and I get these DMs and these emails, so I know it's happening. People are buying VeVe NFTs, they're investing in OMI with money that they need to pay their rent with, and then they're like, oh, but it didn't go up the way that everyone said it would. And for one, I've always said I'm not a financial advisor anyway, but B, we do believe this will go up, but it takes so much time. You're literally banking on an incredibly emerging market. NFTs itself, very new. VeVe, new within the NFT space, etc., etc. So I'm personally not surprised at people's impatience at all. But yes, it is tiring to deal with.
Not even a year old. Like, let's have.
And that's as a YouTuber. Like, think about obviously what RHYS, David, Trevor, etc. Like, they must deal with so much crap.
Let's slow down and have some patience for what's coming, because we all know it's gonna be big. We all know it's gonna keep getting bigger. So
I think it's important to enjoy the ride. Yeah.
Exactly. RHYS, I have a question. So far, what has been the most exciting drop that you know is coming to the public? Like, obviously, you know beforehand. Which one has been the one that you're like, oh, I can't wait for them to see this. I can't wait for them to know what's coming.
Holding on to the Marvel stuff was hard.
Yes, I bet.
And obviously, I didn't know you could do this, but people on Android, you can pull apart now APK, like the app files. You know, so I think Kay and a few people pulled those.
Is that what that code thing is?
This is where those things come from.
So that sounds like data mining, and I might be wrong, but essentially that's actually incredibly prevalent in gaming. In fact, the people who are able to data mine generally do really well from a following, from a follow account perspective, because basically what they do is they go inside the app or they go inside the game and they look at what the devs have put in. And oftentimes when developers publish a application or whatever, there's oftentimes files in there that's sort of preparing for a new update that hasn't gone public yet, which essentially means that you see stuff that the game or the application is going to have in, say, 2 weeks to a month's time, because the developers are preparing for that update. But sometimes the files that are in the application aren't necessarily information that's meant to go to the public. Don't know if I explained that very well, but that's what data mining is.
Yeah, so, images started circulating.
Yeah, images, there we go.
I think we had
And in the gaming community, you would call that a leak. So Fortnite leakers do incredibly well. Valorant leaks are a shambles, should I say. Every game has a lot of leaks in general.
Accidentally dropped it in a couple of resources that we didn't expect to be live for a while, or something like that.
Yeah.
So holding on to that was tough. It was really tough, especially because it happened, well, we were supposed to announce it 2 months earlier, right? So we were kind of gearing up for that. We kind of dropped some hints that we had some big news coming, and then everything went back to legal sign-offs. So for that, we built up all this hype, and then for 2 months, I just had people scream at me.
Okay, so we're actually 30 minutes in. I've only been recording, I feel like, 6 minutes of this video. I was planning on doing a bit more, but we'll do that later. I don't want to make this video too long, so I've got other things I gotta get on with. Oh my gosh, too many videos to record, not enough time in the day. That being said, we'll go over more of this very soon. Thank you, Wendy, for posting this. I really appreciate it. I'm not signed in on Firefox, hence why it doesn't show up as I'm subscribed, etc. But I really appreciate y'all doing this. We're going to look more at this very soon. We're also going to look at some other VeVe podcasts that I've seen people getting like David Yu on to their podcast, etc. I want to have a look at what they're being said there, so I can pass on the information to you that matters the most. That being said, if this video was interesting or helpful to you in any way, shape, or form, a like is always much appreciated. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're new, if you want to be kept happening in with VeVe and Ecomi. That being said, have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.